Hi, welcome into my studio. Doing another quick pastel video showing you some of the tools that I do and don't use for blending. Some new tools I've just discovered that are not specifically for this purpose, but I'm finding they work really well. Got a bit of a cold, so I apologize if you can't hear me quite as clearly as normal. Okay, so got a couple of pencils out, my pastel mat paper. Here's a couple of these popular color shaper tools which I don't get on with at all with the pastel mat paper. You see me in the videos, I generally use these cheap stumps that come in all different sizes. Okay, so I've done other videos on things like showing the color shapers. Because they've got this silicone or rubber tip, what really happens, if I just show you on a corner here, just put a little bit of pastel down, put a bit of blue as well. I'll do a demo at the end of this to show these other tools I'm using. Problems with the color shaper, if I just zoom in a bit on this, is that, as I said, because they've got a rubber tip to them, or silicone tip, what really happens, they kind of act as an eraser. We can erase to a certain extent pastel on pastel mat paper, and so rather than blend, if I got a bit of a microfiber cloth here, I just clean the tip of that. If I try to blend these two together, it doesn't really do it, just creates kind of a muddy mess. It's erasing more than it's pushing around. It just doesn't work on this paper. Now if we use the soft stumps, if I clean that a little bit, that blends better, but that kind of takes it off as well. So I use stumps, you see me on my videos, I use it on the first layers to push the pastel actually into the surface of the paper. Okay, so it pushes into the tooth of the paper, then a layer on top of that. Now you can get these stumps in harder versions as well, but you know, if you go very gently they will blend a bit, but they are taking off all the time. So let me put a bit more pastel down here. So what I generally do, as you will have seen on my videos as well, is use my fingers, because they just seem to work better than anything else. Problem with the fingers, so generally the smallest tool I got on my hands is my little finger, and I just gently rub in circular motions, and that's how I create small blends. Obviously it takes a little bit of the pastel off, but it works better than these. So the problem I've got then is I can't really do small areas very well. Sometimes on eyes in particular, and I'll demonstrate it later on, I want to blend perhaps just a tiny little area, and I can't get my finger in there. So that's the problem. Now, a member on my Patreon channel, I can't remember who it was that said about it, because I got so many members now and I'm chatting to them daily, but whoever it is, I didn't think of this. They said that they've told people to use the stylus. So you know these touch screen styluses you get for your tablets? They've got that little rubber tip to them, because some people don't like the touch of pastels anyway, and they've been using them. So I thought I'd get a few and actually look into this a bit more deeply. So the tip on these is not really like an eraser. It doesn't take much off at all. That's just a tiny bit of dust on there. So it's not taking it off like it would a color shaper tool. So let's put a bit more pastel down, perhaps by this side, by here. Show you a little bit more, show you what else I found with them. So these come in, they're usually around about the same size tip on them. Blow that away. So you can get all different types. There's a bigger one, but they're usually around about this size, which is something like, I think, about 6 or 7 millimeters, the tip. Sometimes you can get them with a hard tip on one side and a rubber tip on the other side. The hard tip does nothing. It won't blend at all. Pity they didn't do it these rubber tips that small, but they don't, as far as I know. So they generally come in this size. You can just gently blend with them, and they work very, very similar to a finger. Now what I did then, I went online and I tried to find out if I could find smaller ones, and this particular one, now you can get them all different makes, so I don't even know what make this is. It's got a B and a D on there, but that's just not the actual name of the pen as such. It's just a retailer. So we've got that tip on the end there, and then when I look at the other side, I can pull that tip off, and we've got a small tip there. So this tip is around about 4.5 millimeters, and to clean it I just give it a wipe, microfiber cloth, and it's clean again. So this is going to allow me now, when I'm doing eyes and things, I can get right in there and do a light blend. Okay, so it's really easy to clean. They really, this one was about I think it's about £10, but normally these smaller ones, you know, they are really inexpensive. Okay, so why not give those a little try? Now with this particular one, you can unscrew the end there, and you can just pull the rubber tip off, and then you can purchase, or what it actually came in the set is loads of replacement tips for the small end and for the large end as well, and then you just pop that back on, just squeeze it back on, simple as that, and this holds it in place. So it's really easy. If I wanted to blend a lot, I wouldn't be using these. I'd still be using my fingers. They're still much more effective, and I wouldn't use these for larger areas. But I think for small areas, eyes and that type of thing, this could be a really useful, pretty inexpensive tool to try out. So I'm gonna do just a quick eye, nothing complicated at all, just something very quick and simple, so you can see how I use this in the blending stages.
Spare piece of pastel mat. As per usual with my new drawings, if there's a very bright highlight, I get that in place pretty much straight away. Now this is, I'm not going too complicated with this. This is just a very basic eye, a dog's eye, something quite easy to do, just so I can show you where I would use, you know, the different blending tools really. I'm just gonna lightly put in where some of the highlights are, and then I can start blocking in the main undercolors, undertones. The pencils I generally use, if you're new to my videos, Pitt and Carbothello. Now the thing is with these styluses, what you need to do is, number one, make sure it's clean. I didn't particularly clean mine after I just showed you that quick intro. And the other thing, you don't want to rub them hard. All the styluses I've found are black tipped. I haven't found a white tipped one. Now the problem is, because pastelmat is a textured paper, if you rub the stylus hard on there, then it's going to leave a mark. So you want to do it very lightly. I wasn't bothered in this area because it's going to be tinted anyway. I'm going to put some colour in the white of the eye, but make sure you've got plenty of pastel down when you're using them, and as I said, use them lightly. And if you use them lightly, you're not going to get much, if any at all, of that black transfer from the tip. May not even be that many cases where you're really blending highlights. Not something we normally do. The highlight is generally kind of left there, so it is quite pure, so it shouldn't be a problem. But now that I've obviously finished this demo, I'm doing the voiceover at the end, I can confirm that if you just use it very lightly, usually in circular motions, that stylus, you won't get much contamination at all on your pastels. So as I said, basic eye, and there's obviously lots of different ways in which you can do the underdrawing as well, and the blending. For instance, you can block it all in, you could blend it, push it into the paper with a soft pastel stump, so that's that rolled up paper. The Derwent are the softer ones, a rice paper stump. So that's one way. If you're doing a fairly large subject such as this eye, then you can always use your finger to rub it into the paper surface. But I wouldn't particularly be using the stylus for that large an area. The whole idea of them is for the smaller areas where I'm struggling to get my finger in. I just want a slight blend in there. And I think, you know, they're a cheap tool to have, a decent addition, and personally on Pastelmat paper, they're working a lot better than those colour shapers. So I'm just going to speed it up a bit now because I'm just doing this blocking in stage, and I only use pencils on this quick tutorial. So that's the basic fundamentals of the eye blocked in. I might do a bit of fur around there as well. In fact, I will do some fur, but just basic fur. I'm not going to spend much time on it. And this is where you can see I can use that little stylus. And you can see it's just lightly blending everything in. And then I can layer more colours on top. The blending helps to push the pastel down into the paper, but as I said, when I'm using that stylus, I'm using very light pressure, and it's moving the pastel around the surface, blending together rather than removing it, as I found with the colour shapers. Now sometimes when I'm blending, I use the stumps. You can see I'm using this one at about a 45-degree angle, so I'm using it kind of on its side. So I want to blend quite a lot. I want to push it into that surface. It's a larger area, and fur is going to come out from this as well, so that's why I'm going in the direction there that the fur is going to flow out from the edge of this skin area. Now I'll just start to add a little bit more refinement, so building up my layers. Now that I've got the basic elements in place, bit of colour into the white of the eye as well. So a bit more pastel down in there now. And this is the kind of area that I'd start to struggle to blend with my finger, so that's where I can use the stylus lightly. You can see it's just softening everything in there. So it's going to be really handy just for things like this and smaller areas as well. I wish I could find some of the styluses that are even smaller, but I haven't found anything just yet. Now sometimes when you build up an area with pencil, as I've just done, you actually just want to dab it on there, because all you want is a very, very subtle blending. Nothing more than that. As I said, tricky to get in those areas sometimes with your fingers. And if I'd used the pastel stump, it would have been started removing the colour from the eye, which I just built up. Same with the colour shaper. Colour shapers work on other papers, smoother papers, but not at all really on the papers that grab the pastel. So I wouldn't use them on a UArt or anything like that, any of the sanded papers. So just doing a little bit more refinement. And I'll just play around now, adjusting colours here and there, adjusting the tones here and there. The beauty with the pastel, obviously, with pastelmat paper, we can layer on top and keep going and going for as long as I wanted to, really, add in more refinement all the time. And because I put that white in right at the start, I've reserved it. I've already got a lot of white pastel on there. I can just add a little bit more on top, really punch it up even more, because it's not a dark colour underneath. If I'd done the whole eye black in this section, I wouldn't have got anywhere near as crisp a white highlight as I've just got. So if you want a colour to be pure white or pure black, don't put another colour underneath it. And now I'm just going to add some lighter tones over the eye that's going to give it that wet look, more of a shiny appearance. Then I'll just do a little bit of work, just roughly, on the fur on the outer sections. And you can see how I can quite easily just float this pastel on top of the work that I've done underneath, just to get that glossy, glassy look. As I said, just going to put some fur in roughly just because it's going to make the eye look like it's in the proper environment. It looks a bit strange at the moment. So if I just put a basic bit of fur in, this eye took me just about 30 minutes, 35 minutes from start to finish. So you can see it's not my finest work at all, but I just wanted to show you how I use various tools for some of these blending stages. And this is a really simple subject, something I could do quite quickly. So I'm just putting some basic colours down. I could have used a pastel sticks, I could use soft pastels, could use Conte sticks for this. Wanted to keep it simple, so I've just used pencils. The main reason with using things like Conte sticks or pastel sticks, it just saves your pencils. If you're using pencils for all the underlayers as well, especially large areas, they're going to weigh down super fast. And now because I want to really blend this in, it is going to be just an underlayer. I've got that paper stump out. It's a soft one because I want it to really blend in. If I use the hard stump, then it wouldn't move the pastel around like this one is doing. I want it to really blend out nice and soft, so I can build those layers on top. Because if I push this down into the pastel surface, it's going to give me the ability to add more layers. If I leave it just floating on the surface, it's taking up the tooth and I can't add as many layers of details as I'd want. Okay, so that's a nice simple underlayer. Now I'm going to go with lighter pencils, obviously going in the fur direction. You've heard me say that probably on all my videos, really important. The direction that fur is going, growing, lying on the animal, that's giving us the information of the shape and form underneath. So it's critical that we follow the correct shape and form. My strokes are quite random as I'm doing this as well. Following that form, but random strokes, and by that I mean what we don't want is like a picket fence. We don't want our strokes to all line up next to each other. It'll look really unnatural. So that's all I'm going to do now. I'm just going to keep lightening and lightening, bringing more distinctive fur. As I said, it's just basic fur, just so you get a feeling of the eye actually on the head correctly. Nice sharp pencils for this section. Lots and lots more tips and full-length tutorials obviously on my website and on my Patreon art channel. Lots of different subjects in there now. We've got work on skin and scales and elephants, dogs, cats, big cats. Lots and lots of different subjects. So as I add just a few more details, bring this video to a close. Hope it's give you a few more ideas and shown you a few ways on how I use different tools for blending, especially for smaller areas, and those new stylus tools, which this is the first time I've used them properly, but I can see they're going to be very handy for those smaller areas for blending. So just to recap, large blending areas, that's where I'm going to be using my hands, my fingers. When we're going a bit smaller then and still fairly large, that's where I'm going to be blending and pushing into the canvas or into the paper with soft pastel stamps. When I'm coming really small, much smaller, then I don't want to go removing any pastel, I just want to finely blend it. That's where I'm going to be using the rubber tipped stylus. So as I said, hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all again on the next video real soon.
If you're looking for even more great art sources, I've really got you covered. First off, I've got a Patreon channel that's been going well over a year or so, packed with around about 50 or more videos and new ones every month. Lots of the videos are many hours long, so you can see they're really in-depth. Subjects such as turtles, birds, elephants, big cats, you name it, is on there. So that's my Patreon channel. And also on that Patreon channel, before I go on to something else, I've got a secret Facebook group, so only the members are actually on there. It's the most supportive and friendly Facebook group that I've ever seen. I know I'm biased, but it really is. We've got 400 or 500 members on there, and they all help each other. So that's a great added bonus that comes free with it. Also, you get line art every month as well, and we've just designed a brand new companion website for it. So if you've joined other patrons and channels and you found it very difficult to navigate around, we got this free website that comes with it. All the videos are now just a single click away. It couldn't be any easier than it is. I've also got my site, jasonmorgan.co.uk, lots of tutorial videos, DVD discs and downloads on there. And if you're struggling for reference photos for your art projects, I've got some of those too. I've got 900 plus on my website, wildlifeart-online.com, and they will be copyright free for you, so you can paint and draw from them and sell your work with no copyright worries whatsoever. So hope you like those extra resources, and I'll see you all again real soon.